Hi, my lovelies. How are you? Good, I hope. Today, I'm going to talk about cryptids with you. Cryptids are creatures that could exist. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But the definition is an animal such as Sasquatch or the Loch Ness Monster that has been claimed to exist but never proven to exist. Contrary to popular belief, cryptids don't have to be supernatural, mythical, or even all that strange, though many popular creatures acquire these characteristics as their legends grow. I want to go ahead and apologize in advance. I have 2 dogs, and they like to bark a lot. But hopefully you won't have to deal with that right now, today. So, I have a whole list of cryptids that I found, but I'm not going to go over them, all of them. That would take forever. So, I'm just going to bring up a few more known ones, such as aliens, which are supposed to be any living creature that are not originating from Earth. They could be anything from simple bacteria to intelligent life. However, there was no concrete evidence to support life outside of our planet as of now. Scientists had allegedly found what could be Martian bacteria. In an asteroid. So that's interesting. Extraterrestrial life is life that does not originate from Earth. So these as yet hypothetical life forms range from simple bacteria-like organisms to beings with civilizations far more advanced than humanity. Although many scientists agree that extraterrestrial life exists, so far no unambiguous evidence for its existence exists. So if you're just now joining, we're talking about cryptids. And I just went over a little bit about aliens. I figured we could start from the beginning and work our way down. There are so many. Here's one that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Bigfoot. The term Bigfoot is used to describe a legendary race of ape men all over the world. The term is sometimes synonymized with Sasquatch, a hominoid cryptid found in North America. And then there's a list of humanoids. There are many cryptids called Bigfoot found throughout the world, although it's commonly used to describe the North American Sasquatch. Some, such as the Yeti, colloquially known as the Abominable Snowman, are believed to inhabit Tibet, Nepal, and India. And Yuran are alleged to inhabit Huo, China. A Bigfoot is a heavy, bipedal humanoid ape. It is believed that Bigfoot stands at around 8 to 10 feet tall. However, the Hybagan stands at only 4 to 5 feet and has long arms. It has dense fur ranging in colors from red to white to brown. It has very large feet, which is why it's called Bigfoot. Some people believe that Bigfoot is a descendant of the prehistoric giant orangutan, whereas others think it descended from prehistoric hominids such as Neanderthal man or, I can't really say this word, Australopithecus. I'm not sure. Sorry. Some sightings of Bigfoot can be traced back to bears. So, that's interesting. And there's a few lesser known cryptids that I've never heard of. Cactus cat, Canvey island monster, Capilobo, Karuff giant, which is considered to be a hoax, Carmel area creature, Champ, Charoof, Chupacabra, I've heard of that one, Curfew island creature, Conrit, Cressy, the crocodile frog was proven to be a hoax, Crocata, Symphon Hall. If I come across any that sound interesting to you, let me know and I'll read it. But I'm going to read about the Chupacabra at this moment because I'm familiar with it. I always have to wait for the page to load. And sometimes it's slow. Or it doesn't want to load at all. Chupacabra, or El Chupacabra, is a cryptid that is renowned for its attacks on livestock, hence the Spanish name, the goat sucker. It supposedly eats chickens, goats, and other farm animals and pets. It has been reported all over the Americas, specifically the southwestern United States, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. There are two common versions of the Chupacabra. There is a reptilian kind, the true Chupacabra, and a canid kind, which are also called blue dogs. There have been more than 2,000 sightings of both types. When it sucks blood, it allegedly makes an odd noise. Their first known attacks were in March of 1995 in Puerto Rico. 8 sheep were discovered dead, each completely drained of blood. Investigators found 3 strange puncture wounds in the chests of the animals. Despite the odd circumstances, authorities could only attribute the killings to a known predator, like a fox perhaps. Others, however, recognized similarities in these deaths to the enigmatic cattle mutilations which have been taking place in the American Southwest with increasing regularity. The woman who first sighted the monster, Madeline Tolentino, had an eyewitness description that was the basis for the most famous drawing of the Chupacabra in the world. And it basically looks like a rat dog, if I had to describe it. Not like a chihuahua, like a rat and a dog, ugly dog, got together. And made babies, and out came the chupacabra. In Canada, Venice, about 30 citizens claimed to have seen the chupacabra, swearing that it had swooped down from the sky and leapt over treetops. It wasn't until November 19, 1995, that a detailed description of the chupacabra came from an eyewitness. On that autumn night in Puerto Rico, the creature struck again. Farmers awoke to a horrifying scene: dozens of turkeys, rabbits, goats, cats, dogs, horses, and cows dead with no explainable cause, just the mysterious markings left by the blood-drinking chupacabras. That'd be horrible, waking up and finding all that. But apparently they've been blamed for more than 1,000 mysterious animal deaths, all resulting from blood loss. So now I'm going to move to the D's. There's the Dalby Spook, Devil Bird, Devil Monkeys, Devouring Gourd, Deleo's Ape, Dingbat, Dodo, Doggy Gator, which was deemed to be a hoax, Dover Demon, Dragons, Dreckovac, Dundas Island Blackfly, Dufon, Dwarves. I kind of believe in dwarves. Fairies and things like that. So let's read about that. In Germanic mythology, a dwarf, Old English dwarg, Old Norse drug, Old High German zerk, and twerk, is a being that dwells in mountains and in the earth, and is associated with wisdom, smithing, mining, and crafting. Dwarfs are also sometimes described as short and ugly, although some scholars have questioned whether this is a later development stemming from comical portrayals of the beings. I think that they look like the gnomes that get sold at stores. The etymology of the word dwarf is contested, and scholars have proposed varying theories about the origins of the being, including that dwarfs may have originated as nature spirits or beings associated with death, or as a mixture of concepts. Competing etymologies include a basis into the Indo-European root. After the Christianization of the German people, tales of dwarves continued to be told in the folklore of areas of Europe where Germanic languages were spoken. Today, dwarves appear commonly in modern popular culture. Early sightings were in 1138. It was reported that a dwarf was captured in the cellar of a German monastery. It was very black and did not speak any known language. He was tied up briefly, but the rope was slackened to see what he would do. He returned to the cellar where he was found and there raised a stone on the ground and disappeared through a tunnel where nobody was able to follow him. The mysterious tunnel was reportedly sealed with a cross. In 1635, Hans Kreppel saw a moss woman near Southfield and had a chat with her. On August 18, 1644, Kurfürst Johann George caught a female dwarf 2 feet in height near Chemnitz, today Karl-Marx-Stadt. An earthwoman tried to steal a human child and replace it with her own near Saalfeld in 1662. A strange, tiny, humanoid creature dwelled in a cellar in Lutzen and was observed several times in 1665. A year before, an earth dwarf was observed near Dresden. Another dwarf was seen in Torgo in March 1669. Those are all old sightings. But here's one from 1975, which is a lot closer. Thank you for the likes and the rose. I appreciate it. I was busy reading and didn't even notice. So thank you. So in 1975, students from Latoko Methodist School in Fiji reported seeing about 8 mysterious doll figures, believed to be dwarfs, in reeds near the school. The figures, about 2 feet in height and covered with black hair, hastily moved away into nearby bushes when the children began to approach them. According to students from Latoko Methodist Mission School, the figure believed to be dwarfs hastily moved into nearby bushes when the children began to approach them. Apparently 6 different students ranging in age from 10 to 14 actually saw the figures while returning home from school. One showed by his teeth and then ran away, claimed one student. I imagine that was pretty terrifying for those students, to be honest. I know I've only been reading one out of each letter, but there's another favorite of mine, dragons. So I'm going to read about those as well, if you don't mind. But like I said, if I said anything that you'd like to know about, feel free to mention something, and if I happen to look up in time, I'll read it to you. So a dragon is a legendary creature, typically with serpentine reptilian traits and features that feature in the myths of many cultures. There are 2 distinct cultural traditions of dragons. The European dragon, derived from European folk traditions and ultimately related to Greek and Middle Eastern mythologies, and the Chinese dragon with counterparts in Japan, Korea, and other East Asian countries. The 2 traditions may have evolved separately but have influenced each other to a certain extent, particularly with the cross-cultural contact of recent centuries. The English word dragon derives from the Greek drakon, dragon, serpent of huge size, water snake, which probably comes from the verb draken, to see clearly. Thank you for the roses. Another source of the word dragon is the Greek word drakon, which means a huge, possibly poisonous serpent. In the New Testament, the devil takes the form of a red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns in his battle against Archangel Michael in the book of Revelation. Sightings and hoaxes. The April 1st, 1998 online edition of Nature magazine revealed the discovery of a near-complete skeleton of a theropod dinosaur in North Dakota. The discovery was referred to in an article by Henry Gee discussing dragon-like dinosaurs. The creature is named after Smaug, the notorious dragon featured in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. The dinosaur skeleton had reportedly been discovered by Brandy Sepulcrove of the Museum of the University of Southern North Dakota. The exciting part of the discovery, according to the article, was that the researchers believe the dinosaur, now named as Smaugi Bolans, could have flown. Just like a dragon. In actuality, the University of Southern North Dakota does not exist, though. It has been made famous by Peter Schmickel. Who refers to it as the location where the music of the obscure 18th century composer P.D.Q. Bach was first performed. Secondly, the name Sepulcrove was actually the 76th Earl of grown in Mervyn Peake's fictional Titus grown. The Earl believed that he was an owl and leaped to his death from a high tower, discovering too late that he could not fly. Well, of course, right. Various other dragon hoaxes include a case in December of 2003. David Hart claimed to have found a pickled dragon, or more precisely, what appeared to be the fetus of a winged reptile-type creature preserved in a 30-inch tall jar of formaldehyde in his garage in Sutton Courtenay, Oxfordshire. He then showed it to a friend, Alistair Mitchell, who runs a marketing company in Oxford. The pair told the press that the dragon was found with documents suggesting it had been offered to the National History Museum in the late 19th century by German scientists. Mitchell suggested it was an attempt by the Germans to discredit the British colleagues. According to their story, David Hart's grandfather is said to have been a porter at the museum. To save the specimen from being destroyed, it had been there, left in a crate in his garage by Hart's father, and had remained there for 20 years before being rediscovered. But it was a hoax. So, and then in 2001, one of the 13 founders of cryptozoology wrote an article regarding dragon sightings. A British naturalist and some colleagues were conducting some research in the area after being notified by a local of something strange that was seen earlier on the year. As they stood at the edge of some woods by a quarry, they suddenly spied an extraordinary entity measuring 2.5 feet or a sun in length. It resembled a serpentine dragon with 4 short limbs, but its head was shaped very like that of a seahorse, and it was airborne, undulating and wriggling as it flew about 10 feet above the surface of the quarry in a wide circle. They were unable to recall seeing any wings, but it had a long tail that terminated in a pair of horizontal, well-like flukes. The entity was green in color and shimmered somewhat, but appeared solid, not translucent or ethereal, and they watched it for 3 to 4 minutes, at a distance of approximately 50 feet, before it finally vanished into one of the numerous caves and large crevices pitting the quarry. The naturalists had the distinct impression, while watching it, that this creature was deliberately seeking to keep them at bay, warning them off from approaching further into its territory. Then in his book, Extraordinary Animals Revisited, in a chapter entitled The Unmentionables, he discusses it again as a mysterious flying creature reported in 2001 near a quarry in Paisley, Wales, which resembled a serpentine dragon with 4 short limbs, with a head shaped like a seahorse, and undulating as it flew about 10 feet. And he goes on to say the same thing. He wrote that the report came from a bona fide naturalist, who was not named for obvious reasons, the academic world being as it is, who was convinced that it was neither an optical illusion nor a model, but was truly alive, although its appearance was so uncanny that he felt chilled by the encounter. And then they have explanations where they say that it could be misinterpreted by a Komodo dragon or other reptiles, but I think that, that'd be pretty obvious. Thank you. Fire breathing could be related to acid spitting, and tales of large dragons could have originated from findings of dinosaur bones. Misidentifications of dinosaur and prehistoric reptile fossils is another likely reason for the myths of dragons. Other explanations include a surviving pterosaur, which was a flying reptile believed to have gone extinct in the KPG extinction approximately 66 million years ago. I don't know, I think there is a distinction between a dinosaur and a dragon. But I'm no scientist, so. Now, there's not very many E's, just the eastern cougar, which apparently was real and it's extinct now. The Ebu Gogo, El Cururo, Emela Nutuka. Any requests on that one? Because I'm just going to read something. Let's go with the eastern cougar. It's extinct. And it was real, so, because, I mean, it's extinct. The eastern cougar was a subspecies of the North American cougar. It was declared extinct by the USFWS, United States Fish and Wildlife Service, in 2011. It has also since been removed from the endangered species list. It seems that the last sighting of the eastern cougar occurred in Maine in 1938. Thank you for all the likes again. I really appreciate it. Historically, according to the United States Fish and Wildlife Service on their website, the eastern cougar range extended from Maine south to Georgia, west into eastern Missouri and eastern Illinois, and north to Michigan and Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick, Canada. That is quite the range. It's very large. After the eastern cougar's apparent extinction, sightings of it have still continued. The sightings of supposed eastern cougars have also not been confirmed to be of the eastern cougar subspecies. Therefore, their current conservation status remains as extinct. Thus, it is still unknown whether or not the eastern cougar still exists, though from now it is considered extinct. So now we are going to move on to the F's. There's not very many F's either. Fear lieth more. The Fiji mermaid, which was considered to be a hoax. Flashlight frog. Flatwoods beast. Fresno nightcrawler. The F's have some interesting ones. I don't know which one I want to read. I guess I'm just going to pick one. Fear lieth more. Let's see what that is about. It says, and fear lieth more, or big gray man, or the man of Ben McDoul, is known to stalk the people who climb the mountain Ben McDoul, the second highest peak in Scotland. Because of the high levels of fog there, not many people have seen it. Some believe the gray man to be a guardian of the mountain, but others believe him to be the guardian of a gate to other dimensions. He is reported to be very tall, humanoid, at least 8 feet high, although sometimes as high as 30 feet. It is covered in short gray hair, hence the name. Many times the witnesses didn't even see it, but could still hear it due to the loud footsteps. Many believe the gray man is a relative to Sasquatch and Bigfoot. It normally stalks its victims until they realize that it is following them, and then it chases them. This is a common pattern. It walks on 2 legs and walks and runs like a normal person. but more frequently, the gray man is encountered in physical sensation, but without a true physical form. That sounds very creepy. Not something I would want coming up on me, that's for sure. Sensations of this type include vast dark blurs which obscure the sky, strange crunching noises, echoing footsteps which pursue the listener, an icy feeling in the surrounding atmosphere, as well as a physical feeling of a cold grip on or brush against the observer's flesh. There is also a high-pitched humming sound, or singing, as it is sometimes called, which is associated with Bing McDowell and the Gray Man. Additionally, the Gray Man has been extremely powerful psychic effect. Visitors to Bing McDowell report a feeling of overwhelming negative energy. Occasionally, this is described as extreme lethargy and despondency. More often, it is typified by acute fear, apprehension, and overwhelming panic, leading to suicidal thoughts or physical flight from the area. Generally, this fear is accompanied by the physical sound of echoing footsteps chasing the observer, and sometimes the sound of a resonant and yet completely incomprehensible voice which seems to be faintly Gaelic in nature. The most common place that the Gray Man is on the mountain, but he also has been commonly spotted in a forest near Aberdeen, Rothmatrus Forest. References of the wild Gray Man date back all the way to the 13th century. Since then, many climbers have reported seeing, hearing, or even feeling the Gray Man. In 1925, a climber by the name of Professor J. Norma Cawley reported hearing the Gray Man. He said that for every 2 to 3 steps he took, he heard one loud crunch. All the while he was speed walking at a reasonable pace, but the footsteps were coming closer and closer. At last he couldn't bear it anymore and sprinted away. Another encounter with the Gray Man was reported in the forest near Aberdeen. 3 men were walking and reported seeing a large creature that looked like a man, but had an eerie, inhuman face. A couple weeks later, the Gray Man showed up and chased their car, trying to get in. He chased them a short distance, but went up to 45 miles per hour. That's crazy. I would be terrified. So I know I've only been reading one from each section of letters, but I want to know what the flashlight frog is. So let's find out together. The flashlight frog is a small bioluminescent frog, approximately 36 inches long, that lives in Cameroon, Africa. It is first mentioned by Carl Schuker, one of the 13 founders of cryptozoology, in his 1997 book From Flying Toads to Snakes with Wings. It is mostly known from the fictional television show The Secret Saturdays and their franchise cryptids.com. They have a horn on the tip of their snout that emits a red light that attracts insects. It also has a yellow spiky tongue that is covered in deadly saliva. Early in Carl Schuker's cryptozoological career, it may have seemed that he was doing little more than Plowfarrow's already well enough tilled by the discipline's founding father. I kind of got tongue-tied there. Bernard Heuvelmans. It's only comparatively recently that the sheer range of Schuker's interests and expertise had become apparent, and he has succeeded in placing himself apart from all the other monster hunters and single-issue specialists who search for hidden animals. Nowhere is his versatility better displayed than in this compilation of short articles which discusses almost 100 possible mystery animals without mentioning Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster once. Instead, Sugar concentrates rewardingly on the subject's marginal conjuring. A dazzling array of maybe animals that are almost always bizarre and frequently zoologically impossible. From the water rhinoceros of Laudub to the vampire deathbird of Ethiopia, and from the triple-headed river monsters of Bolivia to the white-furred elephantine sea serpent once washed ashore on the coast of South Africa. These are, for the most part, creatures that shouldn't exist, even though there's plenty of amusement value in supposing that they do. Bioluminescence occurs in some lizards, but only in one known frog species, the green-boned glass frog. In South America, there are many natural wonders in the animal kingdom, perhaps none so unusual as the glass frog. This tiny frog gets its name because of the translucent skin on its underside, and in some species, the top as well, that allows you to see its inner organs right down to its beating heart. Glass frogs, or centralids, are wide-skulled, long-limbed, arboreal little frogs of Central and South America, cloud and rainforest. So moving on, let's go to the next cryptid. See what we can find of interest. And G's have a lot. They have the Gajamana, Gazika, ghost camel, giant anaconda, giant bats, giant bush baby, giant catfish, giant dragonfish, giant goldfish, there's lots of giants, giant jellyfish, giant rat, giant rooster, giglios whale, goblins, Greek dolphin monster, grizzly, and gugwe. So, let's read about, I don't know, a giant goldfish. How about that one? Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Okay, the giant Molly has reported that a legendary colossal orange koi carp was allegedly snagged in France and is thought to be one of the largest of its kind. Angler Raphael Biagini claims he got the surprise of his life when he landed a gigantic koi carp. I'm sorry, I gotta show you this thing, if you can see it. Can you see how big that is? The man holding it. It's unreal. It was said to weigh in at 30 pounds on a fishing trip to France. It is thought to be the largest ever caught in the wild so far. It took Raphael Biagini 10 minutes to reel the creature out of a lake in South France. Moments after he landed the beast, fellow anglers told him that he spent 6 years trying to snare the almost mythical giant goldfish. Biagini claimed to have no idea what he had caught at first, but he knew that it was immense. To begin with, we couldn't tell what was at the end of the line, but we knew it was big. Mr. Biagini, who has caught many a giant carp in his day, claims he returned the orange fish to the water after having his photo taken with the trophy fish. Of course, this has led more than a few folks to look at the photo and believe it to be inauthentic. That having been stated, Ken Peterson, communications director at the Monterey Bay Aquarium claims that a koi fish this size and this color is possible if it has the right amount of food and enough space to grow. In fact, the largest koi on record weighed almost 90 pounds and was also caught in France. Whether it is a genuine article or another internet hoax remains to be seen. We don't know. Okay, I'm moving on to the H's. Hellhounds, high-bagging, home-clim turtle, which says former hoddag, which is considered to be a hoax, Hopkinsville goblins, Hiroko, I guess that's how you say it, and Hulspin. I've heard about hellhounds before. The hellhound is a supernatural canine found in folklore, sometimes known as black dogs. A wide variety of ominous or hellish supernatural dogs occur in mythologies around the world, similar to the ubiquitous dragon. Features that have been attributed to hellhounds include black fur, glowing red or sometimes glowing yellow eyes, super strength or speed, ghostly or phantom characteristics, a foul odor, and sometimes even the ability to talk. There is a famous Greek hellhound named Cerberus. I remember Cerberus from my Greek mythology class in high school. It was very interesting. Legend says that if someone is to stare into the eyes 3 times or more, the person will definitely die. In cultures that associate the afterlife with fire, hellhounds may have fire-based abilities and appearance. They are often assigned to guard the entrances to the world of the dead, such as graveyards and burial grounds, or undertake other duties related to the afterlife or the supernatural, such as hunting lost souls or guarding a supernatural treasure. In European legends, seeing a hellhound or hearing its howl may be either an omen of death or even a cause of death. Some supernatural dogs, such as the Welsh Cren Ann, were actually believed to be benign. However, encountering them was still considered to be a sign of imminent death. Hellhounds do what Hades tells them to. In Appalachia, however, a different breed of hellhound is thought to roam, mostly in Kentucky, which is where I live. So yay me. It is said to have blackish blue fur, a mane running halfway down its back, and large paws that look strikingly similar to a black bear's front paws. It does not seem to have much to do with religion, but rather it's called the Kentucky Hellhound, likely because it wreaks havoc on livestock. Hellhounds appear as enemies in the Call of Duty games, Zombie Mode. According to the game's lore, Smith Max's dog, Fluffy, was used in a teleportation experiment by Edward Richardson, but the dog was accidentally turned into a hellhound. That's all I have to say about hellhounds. I thought that I would say a lot more. So moving on. We are in the eyes, and there's only one injured code. I don't know what that is, but we're going to find out together. Bye. Injured code, commonly known as a smiling man, is an allegedly humanoid entity. The nickname comes from the being's tendency to smile at almost everyone that encountered him. It is said that he still visits West Virginia to this day. And it's even creepier when they smile at you, isn't it? I don't know, that just makes it scary for me. The grinning man is reported to be human-like in appearance, though he is commonly associated with UFO activity and is sometimes believed to be an alien. It is also believed to be possible that he is connected with the Men in Black. In his first sighting, he was described as being over 6 feet tall and wearing a reflective green suit with a black belt. He had a dark complexion and small beady eyes set far apart. He was described as not having any nose, ears, or hair. In his second known encounter, his suit was said to be blue instead of green, but still retained its reflective property. Other than that, he was described as looking perfectly natural with slicked back hair, a coat with top two buttons unbuttoned, and having pants lighter than the coat but still the same material. He was also described as being quite tan, though not dark, and looking like a normal human being. According to reports made by Woodrow Derenberger, Indrid Code came from a planet named Lanulus in the Ganymedes galaxy, and there were 2 other grinning men by the name Demo Hassan and Carl Ardo. That just sounds fake to me. Indrid Code was first seen on October 16, 1966, when 2 boys, Martin Mouse Munov and James Jimmy Yonknitz, in New Jersey, were walking on 4th Street when they saw a surreal figure standing near a fence. As they walked closer, the figure was a tall, bald man wearing a metal green suit who was staring right at them with a huge grin. The idiosyncratic man chased them until they got away from him. UFO sightings were also reported around the area. According to Night Mind, the boys also recalled more frightening details of their encounter later on. They would recall that the man in the green suit was unusually tall and had unnatural facial features, such as the lack of ears and a nose. Even though most sources mention the New Jersey sighting, Indrid Code and the grinning man could completely be different entities. A second sighting on November 2nd, 1966, in Parkersburg, West Virginia, around the same area and the same time as the Mothman came about, Woodrow Derenberger was driving his way home on Interstate 77 until he heard a crash. Then an unidentifiable vehicle appeared to land in front of his truck. He described it as an old-fashioned kerosene lamp chimney, flaring both ends, narrowing down to a small neck, and then enlarging in a great bulge in the center. The grinning man came out of the vehicle with a dark tan and walked up to the Derenberger and telepathically said his name was Indrid Code and he meant no harm. Code said he just wanted to know more about the human race and he would visit Derenberger again. After the encounter, Derenberger stated the Code revealed he was from the planet Lanulus in the galaxy Ganymedes. That one was a strange one. We're in the J's. There's a jackalope, a jinglot, and the Jersey Devil. And if I remember correctly, the Jersey Devil is in New Jersey, of course. It is a creature native to the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. Like I said, it is often described as having hooves, a snake's tail, bat wings, and a head that looks something like a horse. While there are many stories detailing the origin of the Jersey Devil, sightings have been reported beginning in the 1700s and continuing on until the past decade. The creature is deeply rooted in folklore and legend in the area and is still mildly popular in various media, from sports teams to video games. This Jersey Devil often glows, and it can breathe fire or poison water with its breath, both classic dragon characteristics. The Jersey Devil folklore is also known as the Leeds Devil. Local residents trace its origins to a woman named Mother Leeds, the mistress of a British soldier, who was suspected of being a witch. When she gave birth to her 13th child, she cursed it. The baby was born as a hairy creature and soon took terrorizing the populace and eating children. The Lenape tribes called the area Popissin, meaning place of the dragon. Swedish explorers later named it Drakekill. Drake being a word for dragon, and kill meaning channel or arm of the sea, river, stream, etc. in Dutch. The Jersey Devil of modern sightings are wildly different things. The name has been applied to cryptids that more or less resemble the original Jersey Devil, but it is also applied to nearly every New Jersey cryptid imaginable, such as hairy humanoids that resemble Bigfoot, mystery birds, and even eastern cougars. One Jersey Devil sighting described a hairy humanoid with a deer's head and glowing red eyes. A number of well-publicized but not very convincing hoaxes have managed to confuse the matter even more, scaring researchers away from the topic. On July 27, 1937, an unknown animal with red eyes, seen by residents of Downtown, Pennsylvania, was compared to the Jersey Devil by a reporter for the Pennsylvania Bulletin of July 28, 1937. In 1951, a group of Gibbstown's New Jersey boys claimed to have seen a monster matching the Devil's description, and claims of a corpse matching the Jersey Devil's description arose in 1957. In 1960, tracks and noises heard near Mays Landing were claimed to be from the Jersey Devil. There's a lot more sightings with this one. The Jersey Devil is a popular creature in New Jersey, with its image on quite a number of products. The creature is even the namesake for the NHL hockey team, the New Jersey Devils. It is also a popular image outside the state. The Jersey Devil is one of those major American monsters that gets mentioned rather frequently in books about the strange, the paranormal, and the unexplained. 2 fictional movies have been made about the Jersey Devil: The Last Broadcast and The 13th Child, Legend of the New Jersey Devil. It has also appeared numerous times in modern popular culture, including film, television, literature, music, and video games, like Wolf Amongst Us, where the devil works for the Crooked Man. The region most commonly stalked by the creature is known as the Pine Barrens, a region known for its highly acidic and sandy soil, unsuited for traditional European methods of farming. This meant that as European settlers moved into the region, those with the means avoided the region as much as possible. Only those with dire needs would settle in the region, and they became known as Pineys, made up of the outcasts and less reputable members of colonial society. This reputation gave those outside the barrens even more reason to stay far from the pine barrens. It is possible that the creature's origins in the pine barrens from the Leeds family were a form of social discrimination taking the form of folklore. The creature's fearsome reputation combined with the foul reputation of the family it came from would only encourage locals to avoid the region for fear of being caught by the dreaded devil. So we're going to move on to the K's. We have Kaismunu, Kappa, Castle Rex, which is considered to be a hoax, Kawak, Kiklon, Konkamato, and the Kraken. And the Kraken is one I'm familiar with, so that's the one we'll go with on this one. The Kraken is a colossal legendary sea monster said to dwell off the coast of Norway and Greenland. In 2012, scientists discovered a giant squid that corresponded to the physical description of a Kraken. Using deep-sea exploration with special lighting displays designed to attract large predators. The sheer size and fearsome appearance attributed to the Kraken have made it a common ocean-dwelling monster in various fictional works. Kraken is also known one of the largest, if not the largest, cryptids that may have ever existed, and is so far the only thing in the massive category. The 13th century old Icelandic saga, Orva Odd's saga, tells of two massive sea monsters called Sea Mist and Heatherback. Sea Mist is believed to be a reference to the Kraken. Whales are the biggest of everything in the world, but the sea mist is the greatest monster occurring in the water. It is the nature that it swallows both men and ships and whales and everything that it can reach. It is submerged both by day and night together, and when it strikes up its head and nose above the surface, then it stays at least until the turn of the tide. It could be possible that the Kraken could have been early sightings of a colossal squid. Kraken dung has been found on the shores by Vikings, but has been proven to be amber. The legend may actually have originated from sightings of real giant squid that are variously estimated to grow 13 to 30 plus meters, or 43 through 100 plus feet in length, including the tentacles. These creatures normally live at great depths, but have been sighted at the surface and have reportedly attacked ships. The Kraken. So, I know that I have not read the whole alphabet, but I'm only going to stay on here to read probably two more. One from the L's and one from the M's. In the L's we have the Lockwood Screecher, Low Lizard Man, Lone Pine Mountain Devil. So let's go with lizard man, because it sounds interesting. The term lizard man is not specific to one cryptid. Instead, it is used to describe a broad spectrum of bipedal hominid like reptilian men, sometimes referred to as Homo subterraneus. Sightings of lizard men are reported all over the globe, including the Intulo of South Africa, the Truff lizard man of South America, the New Jersey gator man, and the Leadman frogman of Ohio, lizard man of Scape or Swamp, Canadian lizard man, Nagas of India, Kappas of Japan, and others. On mountain monsters, there is supposedly a lizard demon that roams the rivers running through Wood County, West Virginia. Many theories have been presented in relation to the identity of the lizard men, theories such as living dinosaurs and even offshoots of evolution in which the reptilian hierarchy continued to evolve along the same path as early primates. At one point in time, reptiles ruled the earth. It is not out of the realm of possibility that the most dominant species on the planet could continue to evolve in small numbers, unseen by mankind. Although no reptilian species known to man have shown signs of such advanced evolution, the reptiles are the oldest and most successful species on the planet and could hold secrets that have yet come to light. In 1982, Dale Russell, curator of vertebrate fossils at the National Museum of Canada in Ottawa, conjectured a possible evolutionary path that might have been taken by the dinosaur Trutid had it not perished in the KT extinction event 65 million years ago, suggesting that it could have evolved into intelligent beings similar in body plan to humans over geological time. Russell noted that there had been a steady increase in the initialization quotient, or EQ, the relative brain weight when compared to other species with the same body weight. Among the dinosaurs, Russell had discovered the first trinitid skull and noted that while its EQ was low compared to humans, it was 6 times higher than that of other dinosaurs. If the trend in Trutidone evolution had continued to the present, its brain case could by now measure 1,100 centimeters, 3 comparable to that of a human. Trinitids had semi-manipulative fingers, able to grasp and hold objects to a certain degree, and binocular vision. Russell proposed that this dinosauroid, like most dinosaurs of the trinitid family, would have had large eyes and 3 fingers on each hand, one of which would have been partially opposed, as with most modern reptiles and birds. He conceived of its genitalia as internal. Russell speculates that it would have required a navel, as a placenta aids the development of large brain case. However, it would not have possessed mammary glands and would have fed its young as birds do on regurgitated food. He speculated that its language would have sounded somewhat like a bird song. Another theory regards the lizard men is that they may be reptilian aliens. Many UFO and alien abduction cases have made note of aliens being reptile-like and have since been declared reptoids. Many cryptozoology-related reptilian sightings may have a tie to the evolution of dinosaurs, so alien theories stray further from science. And now the M's. And we have quite a lot of M's. Madagascar tree, Magician's Monster, Mahaba, Mamlambo, Mammoth, Managargle, Mana and Hiki, Man-Eating Lotus of Nubai, Manipogo, Manitou, Mantis Man, Manipurple, Megalodon, Mermaids, Merman, Minogame, Moa, Moaha, Mimbi, Mongolian Deathworm, Monster of Lake Toda, Montauk Monster, Mora, Morag, Mothman, Merhuru, and Murray. Let's read about mermaids. A mermaid, or a merperson, is a legendary aquatic creature with the upper body of a human and the tail of a fish. Mermaids appear in the folklore of many cultures worldwide, including the Near East, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Stories of mermaids originated as early as humans began sailing around 3200 BCE, but may have much earlier roots. Mermaids have been the subject of numerous sightings and hoaxes, such as the Fiji mermaid. It says Columbus was sailing off the coast of Hispaniola in 1493. Columbus reported seeing 3 female forms which rose high out of the water, but were not as beautiful as they are represented. The logbook of Blackbeard, an English pirate, records that he instructed his crew on several voyages to steer away from the charted waters which he called enchanted, for fear of merfolk or mermaids, which Blackbeard himself and members of his group were seeing. These sightings were often recounted and shared by sailors and pirates who believed that mermaids brought bad luck and would bewitch them into giving up their gold and dragging them to the bottom of the sea. 2 sightings were reported in Canada near Vancouver and Victoria, one from sometime between 1870 and 1890, and the other from 1967. In August 2009, after dozens of people reported seeing a mermaid leaping out of the water and doing aerial tricks, the Israeli coastal town of Kiryat Yam offered a $1 million award for proof of its existence, but you'd have to get evidence that it is 200% real proof. The award is going to be on the wall for 100 years. They have an aquatic ape hypothesis, often also referred to as aquatic ape theory, is a proposal that the evolutionary ancestors of modern humans spent a period of time adapting to semi-aquatic existence. The hypothesis was first proposed by German pathologist Max Westenhofer in 1942, and then independently by English marine biologist Alistair Hardy in 1960. However, the arguments of both men failed to achieve significant popular notice. After Hardy, the theory's most prominent proponent was former television documentary writer Elaine Morgan, who wrote a series of books on the topic, and she achieved a large awareness of the theory after her first work appeared in 1972. Evidence and claims. This is a hairlessness. Morgan claimed the relatively hairless skin of humans was due to comparable adaptations in aquatic mammals and land-dwelling mammals that have aquatic ancestors, as well as those that currently spend much of their time in wet conditions, and what body hair humans do have follows the flow of water over the body. However, humans vary strongly in the amount and distribution of body hair, and comparably sized mammals adapted to semi-aquatic lifestyles actually have dense, insulating fur or large barrel-shaped bodies that retain heat well in water. Hairlessness is only an advantage for aquatic mammals such as whales and dolphins that have spent millions of years adapting to aquatic lifestyles involving diving, fast swimming, and migration over long distances. Such animals show considerable skeletal and cardiovascular adaptations to an aquatic environment. The aquatic ape hypothesis lacks fossil evidence to support its claim. It is regarded as a simplified version of evolution. Evolution is usually more complex. Many humans also fear swimming, a fear known as aquaphobia, for the nutrients that are abundant in seafood and needed in the human brain. Scavenging the brains of other land animals could provide these to some extent. Other terrestrial mammals, such as the red deer, have permanently descended larynx caused by vocalization, the most likely cause of this adaptation in humans. Scientists claim that mermaids have to be a myth because it is impossible for a creature to be half woman and half fish. A woman is a mammal, which is a very different order of species from cold-blooded fish. You cannot have both types of creature in the same body, of course. To explain mermaid sightings, they claim that the mermaid myth comes from sailors who have mistaken sea cows, dugong, and manatees for mermaids. They are so sure of this explanation that the scientific name for sea cows is Sirenia. Siren is ancient Greek word for mermaids. The problem with this dismissive theory is that sea cows only live in tropical waters. It doesn't explain mermaid sighting in the colder waters of Europe, where there are no sea cows and where most mermaid stories arise. Scientists try to account for this by claiming European sailors and fishermen have mistaken seals for mermaids. Modern sightings are often dolphins or seals. Some cases of merpeople throughout history could actually be cases of Saurnalia. 3 cases of Saurnalia in humans are known to have survived infancy. Tiffany York's, Shiloh Pepin, Malagros Serum. So there you have it. And I'm going to say goodbye with the mermaid story. And I hope that you enjoyed my list of cryptids. And will come see me again. So goodbye for now. And thank you for everything. I can't get it to stop. I always have trouble.